Hi, Draft here, and today I'm going to be making a video on how to improve your damage as a Shadow Priest on Mythic Lady Inerva Darkvein. So, why this boss fight in particular to start off with? I'm not really sure. I had good footage for it, so I figured I'd start on this boss fight. I plan to do all the boss fights in the future, just they're going to be out of order. So, expect that. I've been a little busy with school and other things, so it's been kind of hard to make new videos, but let me know in the comments which boss you would like to see next, and I'll try and make that video as soon as possible. Anyways, starting off with the fight, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down exactly what I'm doing, what I'm looking for during the fight, and basically what my ideas or my thoughts are behind every action I do and where my CD usage is on this boss fight in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and just get right into the video and start it off. And basically, we pop Lust in the opener, so I'm going to be going with my normal Shadow Priest opener, which I covered in an earlier video, which I'm sure most of you saw, the single target opener. So I'm going with the straightaway standard opener on this boss fight. Here we're pulling, so I precast my Vampiric Touch right now. Shadow Pain, Fey Guardians, Mindbender, Shadow Death, Mind Blast, Pop PI, Void Eruption, Mind Blast, Devouring Plague, and I'm making sure to do 2 globals in between every Void Bolt. I was a little late on my last Void Bolt there. And also, I Shadow Word Death before I casted Void Bolt on one of those, that way I can get it on CD faster. Shadow Word Death's up, do the same thing again. So there I use 3 globals instead of 2 in between Void Bolt, which is okay when it's Shadow Word Death. That way you're making sure you're squeezing in some extra Mindbender damage right there with your Shadowflame Prism Lego. And here we're looking for soaks. Everything was soaked, so we're chilling. We can just plant and do damage. So I know the ads are going to be coming out soon, so I'm getting ready for that. And basically the big thing with this boss fight is your Mindbender lines up with every ad set. So you have Mindbender for every ad set. And also with the boss kill timings, it's better for me to cast Mindbender on cooldown. That way I'm getting more Mindbender casts. So that's what I'm planning to do here. So here I dot the big ad because it's going to live longer. And we're going to get some good duration and damage out of that dot. I'm Mind Searing because the boss is in the middle of all 4 ads. And my Mindbender is also out already. You notice that? And I'm making sure to use it to hit the ads. I tap target to the Spectre there because it's low HP and Shadow Word Death it. That way I'm getting the extra damage from the Shadow Word Death as well as proccing the Rift. And then we Void Eruption late into the ad set there. That's because it didn't come up until later, but that's okay because we got some good damage on the first 2 ads by popping the Mindbender on cooldown, even though we didn't get the Mastery bonus from Void Form on those, or dot them. You don't want to dot the smaller ads really unless you think they're going to live for a long time with your group, because you're not getting any value out of it. Other than that, you can maybe Shadow Word Pain the low health mob to proc Twist of Fate, but that's really up to you. Here, I see the ad spawned out a little far, so I Vampiric Touch it just to get extra Shadow procs, Shadowy Apparition procs. But it actually dies really fast, so I didn't get very much value out of it. Honestly, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have dotted it there. And the ads are pretty much getting deleted, but I'm getting some good value out of my Mindbender. You can see I got the full duration for all the ads up. And then I go into my Void Eruption again, and removing, I'm making sure to use Instant Cast and also Body and Soul from Power Word Shield. And removing in between globals here. So, once again, we're going to be just looking for soaks throughout the fight. It's a pretty straightforward fight here. The ads are starting to spawn again, so I'm getting ready to pull my cooldowns. I pop my Fey Guardians here in a second, that way I have the Mastery bonus for the ads. And it should still be up for a small duration of my Void Form as well, which is good. Pop my Mindbender, I start Shadow or Deathing and getting damage out, making sure to dot the main target ad, the big one. I'm actually hard targeting it here. Doesn't really matter, but I got a Sinful proc on the Spectre, so I'm getting some extra damage from that, and also my Shadow Word Death extra damage while he's below 20% HP there. So you can min-max a little bit, and if Sinful Rev goes on the big ad where you already have dots lined up on it. You can swap to that target and get a little bit extra damage. So my Void Form is up here. I opt to actually not pop it on cooldown here because I know I'm only getting one more Void Form for the rest of the fight, and I want to line it up with my PI and preferably with some ads so I can get some extra damage. I'm saving my Void Form. I see my PIs coming up in 3 seconds. I know the ads are starting to come out. Got Mindbender coming up, so I'm going to save my cooldowns for all of that. Here I pop PI because the ads are about to spawn, and then I go into basically a normal opener rotation without Fey Guardians, Shadow or Deathing, Mind Blasting, Void Erupting. And then we're also looking for kicks here. I tried to kick that one, someone actually took it from me, so I wasted my kick there. But now we're just pumping damage. Making sure to get our Mindbender cleave. I take a little bit of damage there, so I use Desperate Prayer to keep myself alive. Pop my Fey Guardians as soon as it comes up. And we're just pumping the boss here. So now that my Mindbender's gone and the boss is below 20% HP, I Shadow or Death on cooldown there. It's just some extra damage, definitely worth doing. But if your Mindbender's coming back up, you don't want to Shadow or Death. Here we're not going to get any extra things, so we just go and burn the boss. You can see I tried to tab target and interrupt an ad there, but I didn't have my interrupt up, and we basically all died at the end, which is kind of funny. I also wanted to mention that you might notice my Shadow Word Pain dropping off the boss a lot. Well, it's actually not as important for me to have Shadow Word Pain on the boss, especially when I'm inside Void Form, which is usually when I'm letting it drop. I'd rather get a Void Bolt cast off rather than Shadow Word Pain and then lose a GCD before the Void Bolt is on CD. So it's a good idea while you're in Void Form to not refresh the Shadow Word Pain if it falls. And especially there, I'm Void Bolting and then I like Mind Blast and then Shadow Word Pain. So I'm still fitting in 2 globals in between the next Void Bolt if you're inside the end of Void Form or something along those lines. Anyway, what else? Oh, also another good thing is before the ads spawn, you probably want to make sure that you Vampiric Touch and Shadow Word Pain the boss, so you're refreshing your dots on the boss. That way they won't fall off like you might have seen earlier in this video. So just keeping that in mind. And let me go to a point where they do fall off. So like right here, you can see we have low duration on Shadow Word Pain. It's probably going to fall off even though we're in Void Form. It falls off right there, but I have Void Bolt up, so I'm Void Bolting instead. Then I Mind Blast, Shadow Word Pain, and Void Bolt. So we're making sure to fit in those 2 globals. Shadow Word Pain isn't as important as it used to be in BFA. Your real important dot is Vampiric Touch, where your shadows are going to proc from it. So you want to make sure you have Vampiric Touch refreshed when you can. So here I immediately do it, I don't wait. So that's an important tip to remember. And then I'm going to cover a couple more tips here. So for this boss fight in particular, one of the main things is making sure you have your Mindbender available for every single ad set. It should line up perfectly, so you're going to want to pop it pretty much right away, especially if your raid team kills the ads very fast. That way you can get some rift value on the 2 small ads as well as the big ad. So here the big ad's even dying quickly, so we're missing out on a couple of seconds of rift cleave on the big ad. But main tip, make sure you Mindbender every ad set. So this boss fight I'm showing you is 5 minutes long for at least for our raid team. You might be faster or shorter, and this is going to mess up your timers for your Void Eruption and Mindbender. So on a 5-minute fight, I ideally want to be lining up my Mindbender with my Void Form, right? That way we're maximizing the damage because we're not getting an extra Mindbender cast from casting on cooldown. But on this boss fight, because of the nature of the ad spawning every minute, you want a Mindbender on cooldown anyway. And you'll notice the only time in the fight where I don't Mindbender, I do Mindbender on CD, but I save my Void Form for my Mindbender is here towards the end of the fight, right? So I have Void Form up, and I'm not using it. The reason I'm not using it is because I know since the boss health is getting low, I'm only going to get one more Void Eruption. This is the last Void Eruption in the fight, so I want to line it up with as many things as possible. And also, since it's a 5-minute fight, I only get 3 PIs. So I know this last PI is my final PI for the entire fight. So I want to line up that PI with as many things as possible. And ideally, I'm going to want to pop all these things when the ads are up so I can maximize my damage. So you'll see me do that here. Now, in an even more ideal world, I would save all these cooldowns to line up with my Fey Guardians for the Mastery bonus. And maybe a min-maxy thing I could have done earlier was actually save my Fey Guardians for this moment in particular. That way I'm getting the Mastery on all the ads on my big burn. And that'd probably be more damage. So you can try that if you want. But here, I'm just popping all my cooldowns on these ads because I have all them up and I'm lining them all up, and I know I'm not going to get any more casts after that. Since 5-minute fight, I'm not getting 6 Mindbenders, I'm only getting 5, and I'm only getting 5 Void Eruptions. So pretty important to line it all up there, and I get my big burn in, which is going to boost my damage, and then I end at 8.3k, which is not too bad. So the pro tips, I guess, I'll summarize it all. Cast your Mindbender for every ad set, and then for your final PI, try to line up your Void Form and Mindbender and as many things as possible on that ad set where you have your PI up. And those are the big two takeaways from this fight. Um, Obviously, in this video, I didn't get any mechanics on me, which is very, very fortunate. You're probably not going to be that fortunate, especially when doing this boss fight. So if you have to connect the lines, the important thing is to, since we don't have a lot of mobility, try to go for the dot that's closest to the boss fight. That way you can still do damage on the ads, and you don't have to move as far, so you're not delaying the line linkage. Because the longer it takes, the longer you're standing away from the boss and having to move and wiggle and figure out how to connect the dots. Always actively make sure you're looking for soaks. If all the soaks are covered, you can just plant, and planting is the best way to do damage as a Shadow Priest. And then also make sure you're looking for kicks. I know our kick is on a long cooldown, but it's very important to make sure you're not wiping the kicks going off. So look for kicks when you can. I didn't get any kicks during this video. I tried to get kicks, but um, unfortunately I was too slow. And also if you're running Naya, it's a little bit of a damage bonus to actually get a kick. So that's a bit of an incentive right there. So definitely don't waste that like I did. And that's basically the summary of the whole boss fight. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more. And also, like I said, let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this boss fight, and also what boss fights you want to see me make a video on in the future. I'll try and cover other boss fights more in depth. This one was a little bit simple, so there wasn't as much to cover. But other boss fights like Sire, there's a lot of different things that you're doing with your cooldowns that you wouldn't normally do on just a patchwork boss fight. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.